positive thinking. Positive thinking is a necessary tool to staying, well, sane. I mean, it is the key to not lashing out at every small problem and being constantly overwhelmed at every tiny detail that faces you in life. It definitely helps you because it has so many benefits. Because being able to reframe problems and make them into something positive. For example, I suck at this. But why do you think you suck at this? Well, one, two, three. Yes, but you're getting better. So this kind of reframing negative thoughts or negative opinions of yourself helps you helps you to like boost yourself into positivity and motivation. But I'm not here to talk about that. It has a lot of positives. Don't get me wrong, it has a lot of advantages. But I'm here to discuss the latter because sometimes you just need to face reality and it's not as good as you think it would be to constantly be thinking positive because sometimes, well, all the time, if you're suppressing an emotion and say that emotion is sadness, the more you try to suppress it, the more difficult it becomes to suppress because emotions want to be expressed and expressing them is not a bad thing. Expressing them is just being real with yourself and telling yourself, I don't feel that great, instead of I feel great. Well, you know deep down that it's a lie. And here's the thing, when you start lying to yourself about your emotions, when you say I feel great when you actually don't feel great, you know deep down it's a lie. You're not lying to anyone except to yourself, and you don't believe that lie because you know that it's not true. So your mind will be like, why am I trying to make the best out of this situation? What what do I have prepared for other situations? And it starts like generating more and more like negative thoughts towards this positive thinking process that you're trying out. So I think the best way to go about it is to reframe the problems, actually address the problem, but then solve it in a way that it will end in a positive way. Just like the example I gave, I suck at this, but if you don't try or if you stop doing it, you're not gonna get any better. And you are getting better. You see, here you acknowledge that you're getting better and you gave yourself the solution to getting better and to achieving what you want. So your mind is like, okay, let's do this, let's get better. And you feel really great about it. And yeah, you feel really great about it and you start doing it like you've never done it before. But let's say you're doing the work and you're like, I suck at this, but then you're like, no, I don't suck at this, I'm really great at it. And then you try to convince yourself that no, you're so good and oh, you're just so great at this. And when you know deep down you're not, the mind will be like, why is he trying to tell me that to say that he's good, but he's not? I know he's not. Is he trying to deny that fact? I need to make him more aware of it. And this leads to stress because you're like, I'm not thinking positively, I'm not thinking positively, I'm not thinking positively. And then you're like, but I need to think positively instead of thinking that I'm not thinking positively. Then you try to think positively or just make up anything, literally anything. And at this point, you know that you are making up something and it will not be true. Your mind will not believe it, you won't believe it, it's just a waste of oxygen, waste of neurons, waste of the, yeah. waste of neurons, and it's just not as good as you'd think it would be. Mostly because you're trying to use the mind to play a trick on the mind, and that will not work for several reasons. Because you can't make something trick itself, even if it is the mind, even if it is something as complicated as the mind. And something as complicated as the mind should not be tricked so easily, and it's not tricked so easily. You need to, so regarding positive thinking, I think you need to do the reframing thing and just a problem. Say, hey, I'm not good at this, but I'm getting better. Then you start noticing improvements from when you first started to now. And then you're like, yeah, I'm getting better. Where could I be in like 5 years? Sometimes I think that some people need some fear and doubt, because the person, take for example, the person who says that they're gonna write a book, for example, and they've been saying that they were going to write this book for ages now, and they still haven't started. So the mind is like, hey, you wanted to write that book, right? And they go, yeah, I want to write that book. Why don't you do it now? Well, I don't feel like it. I'm probably gonna do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be so great. I'm going to dedicate the whole of tomorrow just for writing, blah 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 blah. And when tomorrow comes, I'm too tired. I'll probably do it tomorrow, blah 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 blah. So the mind notices this pattern. It plants like a seed of doubt, a seed of fear, and a seed of doubt. You're like, what if you don't get anything done in 10 years? What if you could have been a best selling author and you just didn't realize it yet? You need to just sit down and get started on writing the book. You know, everybody wants to do everything good up until it's time to do everything good, because it just feels good to think those thoughts, and you get a feeling of accomplishment even before you think those thoughts. Now, thinking them quietly to yourself is okay, but like, I think expressing them and expressing like what you're gonna do just doesn't like make you want to do it anymore, because you've already got the feedback you would have received if you had actually done the thing. You know, like, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm going to improve, and then they're like, yeah, good job, I'm so proud of you, whatever. They were going to say that if they saw you silently training as well. But I think that's the best way of. I just went on a completely different route. Back to positive thinking. Yeah, thinking positively all the time isn't a good thing, because if you're forcing it, then it's just artificial positiveness. And just like artificial porn, for example, it just doesn't do the same thing. I mean, it's close to it, but it doesn't do the same thing. Forcing it is just not good, and you should probably not force positive thinking, because at first you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is so awesome, I'm just thinking positively, life is so good, and all of that. But then you're like, when you catch yourself thinking, having one singular negative thought out of all of the thoughts you have per day, this one negative thought will destroy you. You'll be like, let's say, I woke up not feeling great today. Why do I not feel great? I'm so positive. I'm supposed to be so positive. Why am I not feeling great? This is so absurd. This is not true. I am feeling great, but I'm not actually feeling great. Then after like a little cycle, you start to notice yourself going a bit crazy with thinking positive, and you're like, I need to think positively. Why am I not thinking positively? And this one negative thought manages to destroy you. So just acknowledge it and let it go. I'm giving you a million solutions here, and I'll be only giving you two, but imagine that there are a million. I'm giving you the reframing method and the, well, just let it go. But reframing is probably better because you're actually facing the problem instead of just letting it go. It does have a lot of effects on the mind, and it does have its advantages and positives, but it also has negatives. Everything is good in measured amounts. Not measured, like reasonable amounts. For example, a lot of working out is not good, and a lot of positive thinking is not good as well. So I think the solution and the key takeaway from here is that you should just try to think positively, but don't be obsessed about it. Like letting negative thoughts overwhelm you is not better than letting positive thoughts overwhelm you, and it's not worse either because thoughts are overwhelming you, whether positive or negative. The overwhelmment of positive thinking is not good because it generates a lot of negative emotion alongside with it and a lot of stress, and so does negative emotions. Don't be overwhelmed, just notice your thoughts and try to analyze them. Like, I'm not feeling good. Why am I not feeling good? 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 3. That is probably the best thing you can do regarding positive thinking, reframing it. So don't fall prey to the cycle of positive thinking all the time. Goodbye.